Welcome to another episode of the Chicks on the Right podcast, where we have friend and sponsor of the show, Zach Abraham from Bulwark Capital Management, with us to talk about all things that are economic and financial related. And of course, this was the weekend that we just had where SNAP benefits ended for 42 million freaking people.
Oh my God.
Which is a whole thing that we need to get into.
We do.
But now word on the street is that a federal judge has told Trump, and Trump is saying that he will comply, that there needs to be at least partial funding of SNAP benefits from some emergency funds, which also makes me nervous because, like, what if there's a huge disaster that happens and then all that money is gone because it's gone out to SNAP people? That's a whole other thing. But, like, really, I think what we wanted to just ask you about today, Zach, is why are so many people on it? What have we done so wrong that this many people rely on taxpayer-funded food?
Yeah. So, okay. I've actually spent a good deal of time looking into this and researching it at different times. And I am a believer that there should be a public safety net of sorts, right?
Sure.
Absolutely.
To help out people, help families bridge gaps, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And how to do that is always going to be tricky, because anytime you have a government program, you're going to have fraud of some kind, right? It's part and parcel. But the way that we have structured the public safety nets in this country is deeply flawed, and it's been deeply flawed from the very beginning. For instance, and I hate how this metric gets politicized, but it's nonetheless the truth, and it should precipitate a lot of questions. And it doesn't, because it gets identified as racist. But if you look at the Civil Rights Act of 1963, which I'm married to a black woman, so I'm a big fan of the Civil Rights Act of 1963. But there's something really curious that would really catches you off when you're looking at this data. Prior to the Civil Rights Act of 1963, something like 93% of homes, black homes, were two-parent homes. It was actually a higher percentage than it was for whites at the time. Mm-hmm. You go to where we are now, and I think you're at about 7 or 8% of black homes are two-parent homes.
Yep.
Okay. Now, is that all because of the Civil Rights Act of 1963? No. But with the Civil Rights Act came the Great Society and all the other kind of stuff that came along better or later. And one of the things that, if you look at the beginning of the welfare system, one of the things that certainly contributed, how much, I don't know, because we haven't been able to look into it because it's been deemed racist. But you got paid more if you were a single parent. Mm-hmm. And so what has started happening is dads started leaving around the time of the month that the social workers would come check. Well, eventually dads quit coming back, right? And so you see a similar dynamic. I will never forget, there was this time where my wife and I were in college, and we were going through the grocery store at like 9:30 at night. And you know how it is back then, like you've got like $18.73. That's how much you have to spend, because you know exactly how much you're going through with your calculator on your phone, writing things down, all that kind of stuff. And we get up to the checkout, and we see this woman that is like decked out in designer stuff, top to bottom, like brand new Michael Jordan shoes on, and like the Juicy Couture outfit. Right. And she's got her kid there all decked out. And what caught our eye, more importantly, was her cart, because it was stuffed. Mm-hmm. And we're just like, man, it like at that time you're broke, you're finishing up college, you're newly married, and you're like, dude, that's living, right? Like that's living. And sure enough, man, she whips out her EBT card. We walk out behind her, getting in our beater cars. She's getting into her Lincoln Navigator.
I was going to say she had a nice car too. She had a nice car. I've seen that too.
And so whenever you say things, I know that there are people and families out there that are in desperate need for those SNAP benefits. I also know that there are a ton of people that aren't. Totally. And I know that there are a ton of, and I've seen it firsthand. I know of people and know them that literally don't get married because the benefits they get for being a single parent effectively afford them the ability to be a stay-at-home parent.
And the more kids you have, the more you get.
Right. So at the bottom of this And we have to, as a society, like remove these things from, oh, that's racist or that's mean or what. No, guys, of course we need a public safety net, but it should be more like this is kind of corny, but like I say, it should be more like a public safety trampoline as opposed to public safety wet cement,
Exactly.
right? Because you get in this quote unquote safety net and it's like a roach motel. You don't get out.
Oh,
right?
Totally. Yeah.
And
there's no shame to it anymore. Like no one's embarrassed. Like that woman that was like buying that stuff in front of you and your wife. I mean, I would assume she had no shame. She's walking out to that nice car. She had her nice stuff on. She had her juicy couture. She didn't have any shame. She wasn't embarrassed. She was
it's a cheat. It's a cheat code. Like I said, literally, I have heard it described, and I have been in the same room when people were describing this story as that's how I can be a stay-at-home mom. It's great. Mm-hmm. The state pays for me to be a stay-at-home mom.
Right. And now it's like, but you look at kids, like say you're in the public school system and kids that have to eat a peanut butter sandwich. I mean, I remember like being in school, kids that had to do that. My kid has actually had to do it because I've forgotten to give her lunch money before. And it's embarrassing, right? It used to be, or it should be, that it's kind of embarrassing for the kid that has to eat the peanut butter sandwich. She doesn't have a lunch, or there's, you know what I mean? Because it used to be there was a stigma attached to it. Now I don't think that there's a stigma attached to it. Now it's just like, we're taking advantage of the system because we can, suckers.
Yeah.
Well, and now there's this big, there's discussion about what really should be covered by SNAP, because apparently you can get lobster tail, you can get caviar, you can get all this ridiculous stuff. And people are like, well, we want the folks that are on it to have dignity and they should be able to choose whatever they get. But I kind of feel like, I love the idea that I saw on Twitter where someone was like, you get a box of staples that you need to survive, because that's the point. You're supposed to be getting fed to survive, not to like be living it up on the taxpayer dole.
Yeah. And also, and not getting stuff that's going to make you sick in the long run. It's where we have to pay your health bills. Yeah.
Yeah. Dignity.
Yeah.
Right. Like how about enough dignity not to lie? So you take from the public kitty to give yourself a 1-up undeserved advantage over your neighbors. Dignity. I am so tired of people like okay. So why should I be paying for high fructose corn syrup, fruit snacks, and candy so your kid can develop diabetes?
Right. And you also have to pay for
cancer. Right.
Exactly.
Which is going to keep like that. It is so ridiculous. Once again, and here's the thing, people go, you're not compassionate. No, nonsense. It is compassionate, because every person you see doing that is taking money and food off the plate of somebody that actually needs it, right? Those EBT things should be confined to protein, dairy, and vegetables, period, full stop. If it's in a package, it doesn't apply, unless maybe it's like Top Ramen or something like that. Foods that you can extrapolate out. But like when you see people, I mean, what in the world would you make that? Why would you be able to buy ice cream and Coca-Cola with an EBT card? That is ludicrous.
Plus, I think of all the people, food aside, you said, what was the number, Mock? You said 44 million?
42 million.
42 million people. Yeah. Okay, so 42 million people are doing this. Not all of them are doing it maliciously, right? I mean, let's just say that 20 million are doing it maliciously. Let's just say half, right? They're cheating the system. Like, I look at those people, the people that are they're just not living up to their full potential. We're allowing them to do it, and they're not living it. That to me is cruel. It's cruel when you allow people to do that kind of stuff, because you're making it so easy for them to just be lazy, and they're not living it.
I love the fact that you brought that up, because it is such a neighbor. It is adjacent to the soft bigotry of low expectations, right?
100%.
Yes.
Because what you're doing, anything you do that makes being on the bottom more comfortable is toxic, right?
Yeah.
There is a huge delta between treating somebody with dignity and assisting their failure, right? There is a huge delta between that. And when you make failure too comfortable, and there should be remember the movie about the Cinderella Man. Remember that movie Cinderella Man?
Yes, so good.
Remember when so good. And remember when he has to go get public assistance
Yeah.
And then, man, I could get choked up talking about it. And then he goes back and pays it back.
Yes.
Right? Like there is an element that should involve, for lack of a better term, a little bit of embarrassment.
Shame.
Because that means that you don't want help. And as a man, you shouldn't want help. As a grown woman, you shouldn't want help.
Yes.
And it should be a little bit of that hesitancy to accept that handout. But more importantly, don't rob people. Like necessity is the face that has launched 1,000 successful careers, right?
Yeah.
Like necessity, like getting tired of staring at these four walls and I've got to bust out. I got to make something of myself. But when you make it comfort, it's not helping.
When you
they
incentivize terrible behavior, you get more of that behavior.
Yes.
And that's why you've seen all the videos going around socials of people just being like, I need my EBT and you got to pay for it. And the entitlement is like off the charts.
Yeah.
And then add to that all the people who are saying, I'm selling my food stamps to get cash. I mean, it's such a racket at this point.
It's really interesting too, because those are the same people who would have participated in the No Kings rally like a week prior. And you're like, wait a second. So now you want a king to like feed you? I don't get it. I don't understand.
No kings. Even that cracks me up.
It's all crazy. Yep.
It literally is people living in their own little echo chambers that they've designed and they just tell themselves what the truth is. And you're like, okay, so no kings, and you're protesting a guy that had the whole system weaponized against him and won the popular vote.
Right, exactly.
So, is this like a celebration?
But the approach, Zach, like what we're saying, it's a lot. It reminds me a lot of how all of us view, and we've talked about so many times on this show, we've talked about parenting. And it's how you want your kids to do well. You want them to fall down and get back up. You want them to, granted, they're going to fall and they're going to fail and they're going to do things, but you don't want it to be too comfortable for them. And it's essentially the same thing with people on Snap. It's like, you don't want them to get too comfortable because if they do, they're going to stay there.
It's funny you bring that part of it up because I was thinking about it. And it was one of those moments where I was sitting there going, you need to be really honest with yourself. You need to be honest with yourself as a parent, and you need to look at your own life. Truthfully, the older I get, I don't know if it is possible to raise a kid that really actualizes and realizes their full potential if they grow up in an environment that's as comfortable as the one that my kids grow up in. Quite honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's possible, and it's something that I've been asking myself lately. And I know that I look back at my own life and my own development and my own progress, and I had wonderful parents that loved me, and that was a key part of it. And we had a wonderful life growing up. Like it was an idyllic childhood life, but it was a normal like 80s childhood life, right? It wasn't rich or anything like that.
The good old days.
But being honest, man, if I look back on it, it was the things that I didn't get. It was the no's. It was the hardships. That's what propelled me. It was failures. It was not wanting to be at the bottom. It was desperate to claw my way out. It was all of those things. And I think, like I said, I say that just as much. My kids have a much easier existence than I did.
I think a lot of ours do. And I look at these people who are getting, these benefits that don't necessarily they're able-bodied people that can work. And we're doing them a disservice. We're doing all of us a disservice, obviously, because we're paying for it, but we're doing them a disservice. It's like it's such a lack of humanity to put them in that position. Because it's like, you're not living up to your full potential. It's not.
No,
it's not cool.
No. And like you said too, it was one of the things that I was so passionate about even like the racism discussion, generally speaking, right? Which is, the simple truths that we have a culture that we've just decided don't apply anymore and that we've thrown out, right? For instance, if you see, like, let's say you're a minority group and you hear two parties arguing for your vote. One party is telling you all of the things that are going against you, all of the reasons you can't succeed and why you're screwed, right? And then the other party is telling you, no, you can succeed. Look at this over here. What about this? What about, like, enemies tell you that you can't do it and give you all the reasons why you can't.
Right.
Friends tell you can and show you how.
That's right.
Exactly.
Right?
That's exactly right.
what I see over and over and over again, and we've talked about it, and it's I'm not hardly the first person to bring this up, but it truly is a culture of victimization, meaning if you're not subjugated to a lower area of life, if you are not losing, they don't have any use for you.
Right.
Right.
They definitely don't have control over you. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have control over you.
Mhm.
And more importantly, that's where they want you.
Totally.
That's where they want you.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. They don't want you getting to have financial retirement planning discussions with Bulwark Capital Management, for example.
That's right.
And they don't want you to develop like serious Major League World Series transition skills.
God, like Marion.
I know.
I mean, the best, right? World
I feel like I'm shooting free throws with Michael Jordan here.
Right? She's the GOAT. The GOAT of transitions.
It's great.
I try my best.
It's
but
greatness.
Tell people how they can listen to all of your pearls of wisdom and actually get financial retirement planning help.
Yeah. Well, all of my pearls of wisdom. I think my wife would have a different way to categorize that. But so you can get us all the time at bulwarkcapitalmanagement.com and knowyourriskpodcast.com. We do our daily show, the Daily Dots, everything applicable in finance, investing, and politics. It's been interjecting a lot lately, so that's been a hot topic. But yeah, just Google Know Your Risk Podcast, Bulwark Capital Management. Not hard to find.
All right. Thank you, Zach.
All right, ladies. Thanks. Fun as always.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. Any references to performance of securities are thought to be materially accurate, and actual performance may differ. Investments involve risk and are not guaranteed. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 24308.